I'm going to do that, and that's going to be my cue to press go, which they would have then heard. So, good evening and welcome. There we go. Guess what?
We're professionals.
Yep, we are professionals, and we're together.
We are
Ah.
reunited, and it feels so good.
This is probably the first time that we've actually been in the same place doing a live stream for like a couple of years now.
Yep.
Yay, Kevin's over.
I also like the fact that every time one of us looks at the camera, one of us looks away.
We should do that. So first of all, it's a new setup. Well, not new, but I've got different mics so you can hear us both. And
Can they?
yeah, that's the first thing. Can you hear us? That's an impressive split.
There is a pretty good split screen. I can't read that. You're in charge of comments.
Can I just make it bigger? There we go. We don't need to know
There
that.
we go. Hello, Roderick. Hello, Dustin.
How are you doing this evening? So I presume everybody can hear us loud and clear, and hopefully when we're screen sharing, you'll be able to hear us as well. Good
Hello,
evening, Gerard.
If you can't hear us, just press your nose.
No. So we're a bit doolally because we've been in each other's companies all day, basically.
All day.
Yeah.
Hello, Tommy. Yeah, it's been a pleasant, productive, and long day.
Yeah.
Which is why we're guzzling coffee. Well, my coffee's off screen. It's over here.
Which you can get at any point, by the way.
Yeah.
Feel free. I allow it.
Oh, good.
So yes, we've been playing a lot around with Godot RC1, Godot 4, RC1. So the release candidate has come out. So we're deep in the weeds with assets.
Well, release candidate 1's out. Now, it's not the official release of Godot. It's the pre-champagne launch, but it's still the official release. But it's not the official release. There's still bugs. Help us fix it.
Yeah.
So this feels like a
Definitely,
good time to start actually getting ready to record the new content.
Woo! I've got notes.
C sharp.
Okay.
D
Yeah.
flat.
So we're in line with our notes so far.
Yeah.
We're talking about Godot 4 and the release candidate 1. So the release candidate 1, we have... Oh, hi, Muds up.
I read it.
So we have been playing with it all day, and Jan's been playing with it all week, which is Monday. I mean, like, since it came out, right? Too much coffee. And we've done a little bit of a test today, and we want to show you around what we've put together today, just testing out some various things, how we want to take some of the assets, the direction which we want to take them with the...
I feel like we've skipped an important chunk.
Yeah, probably. I'm really excited.
So with Godot 4, there are two major projects that are due to start at the same time, which means I'm going to have to back and forth a bit. And some of it's going to require some stuff from Mikey first. So that's really what today's about. The two big projects are Godot for Everyone, which is our successor to Discovering Godot. It's the beginner to intermediate course for Godot 4. And we'll have a series of modules, each one of which is its own game that teaches you a series of skills. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And the other one is actually starting recording on the Your Godot Action RPG project, which has a whole bunch of different things to have to go. And one of the bottlenecks there is we're using assets being made in the Blender courses and in the music courses. So we can't really start working on them without those. So it's prioritizing what's going to be happening with those.
Yeah.
So as we were doing that, I said to Mikey, can I see some of your dungeon assets you've made so far? I went, yeah. And we looked at them. We brought them in. They're a bit flat. And Mikey's like, well, I don't really want to do the sort of the brickwork you had before because it's a lot of vertices we don't need. So we started playing around in Material Maker, which we had loaded up on the screen, and then we switched the computer off, and now it's loaded up on the screen. So Mikey has to go open it. So Mikey, do you want to talk a little bit about the Material Maker that is totally open?
So Material Maker is actually made in Godot, which is
or Godot,
or Godot if you prefer. And I'm just trying to find it here. So Material Maker is it's a free tool as well. And obviously you can contribute as well. I'm just going to look for it again. So I've got the URL. So I think it's just materialmaker.com. To be quite honest, I don't think it was anything particular. .org. So materialmaker.org. So you guys know what we're talking about. Let's get that over in the chat. Although
you'll have seen it a while back.
Yes. So Material Maker, we played around with it today and was able to make roughly what the walls were before, with keeping the walls just as a single plane. Now we're not planning on keeping the walls completely flat because it does.
This was a quick let's see what we can knock together in a few minutes.
Yes.
And how good can we make it look? Should we show them how good we can make it look?
Yes, let's
that
go.
Was a weird way of saying that.
Yes, well, we can switch screens over into Godot. And it's this button here. Doo-doo. So this is in Godot 4. These are in-work assets. And the walls themselves... Godot 4 actually has depth, which is fantastic. So
in a depth map.
As in a depth map and a normal map. So this is just a normal map and a height map on the screen itself. It's not final or anything along those lines. And we use the same one on the floor. And we brought in some of the new Vault assets as well. And it really starts to bring everything together.
Yeah. And little touches that God of War can do. Like if you watch the particles for the torches that I put together in like a minute and a half, they're not good, but they're a start. The way it sort of randomly sways with breeze that doesn't actually exist just makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, I really like that. And you can tell this is assets in the making because these two things intersect.
Yeah. This is all very, like, proof of concept. Let's see what we can do.
We just grabbed a load of things, brought them into Godot 4, playing around with the volumetrics as well and the fog on the floor. And it's really starting to bring things to life. And I'm really surprised how stable it's been since we've been playing with it today as well.
They've made phenomenal progress with this. I'm a little stuck still on how to use the ambient light properly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it shows, sometimes it doesn't. Roderick says they might not be good, but something fast. But they're fast. Yes, they came out well.
Yes. Yeah, we just putting stuff together. We had to stop ourselves several times today whilst we were playing with it. We're like, oh, no, we need to get everything ready for the stream rather than improving stuff.
Proof of concept rather than finished product. So let's talk a little bit about the Godot Action RPG. Now, we've already had a bunch of the Blender courses released. And
there's been a couple of those out. Yep.
And the music one as well, I believe.
Yes, the LMMS.
The
LUMS course. Yep, making music for beginners.
So this will be the first of the Godot ones. And the reason we're doing this is the dungeon assets are already in production.
Yep.
So it's a good starting point. So the first, your Godot Action 4 RPG course to start recording will be procedural dungeons.
Yeah.
Will the course go for Material Maker as well? That's a great question, Dustin.
Yes, we were talking about this today, and we think yes. We don't know which one of us will be doing it yet. But in terms of understanding Material Maker, it's very, very similar to the shading workspace in Blender.
Yep.
Where you simply put a load of stuff together and output your final material.
Without any documentation or ever having played with it before, we got it looking like this in...
About 10 minutes total, including import.
Yeah.
So it's a very straightforward to use program, and in fact, it's much easier than the Blender shader workspace because it comes with some presets like brickwork. So we just dragged in a different blockwork. So this looks roughly what we want to see.
An interesting question will be when you say the course. We should point out that although there is a large course and a large what's the word, bucket of courses? No.
We're going to be covering multiple things, and much like how the Blender Creative Suite is in individual compartments. So if you already have a knowledge of Godot in this case, you can just pick up where you want to within the course itself, and each individual section will be a standalone section with all the assets necessary provided within it itself.
But where I'm going with this is the Material Maker probably won't be in the Godot course. It'll be in the Asset Maker course.
Yeah.
Because that's what you'll be doing. You'll be making the assets.
Yeah.
Unless we do it as a tiny free mini course.
Maybe.
Which we haven't decided yet.
We haven't actually produced a syllabus for Material Maker because we dived on it today.
As we're doing a course on how to make the assets, if we're going to be using Material Maker as part of the pipeline, that's going in there somewhere.
Definitely.
What that looks like, we're not entirely sure yet, but that's the plan. The plan is going to be to get the assets ready for the course, get the course out to our Lifetime Toucans and our early access backers on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And once they've had a chance to look over it, make sure it's all good and the quality's fine, to release it to everybody else. We're going to start recording that pretty soon. Before we do that, though, we need the rest of the assets.
Yeah. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll be putting together assets. And I think now will be a good time to just jump into not a timeline. Next week, we'll be able to give you a better idea of timeline itself once we're actually deep into this. However, with the assets themselves, we are not only making assets in Blender, we're also making sure that they work over into Godot as well. So if you've bought an asset pack or the asset pack came part of your bundle, or if you want to buy an asset pack in the future, it will work straight away in Godot. That's what we're aiming